Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back on a new video on this channel. Today we are here to talk about many interesting things. I want to talk about the reflection I had about life more than a month ago. I want to talk about that. I was inspired to do this video by a message I received. So, I thought let's take advantage of the reflection I had 1 month ago and let's do this video. So this video is about many things. I don't know the title of the video yet, so I don't know how I'm gonna link the title of the video to the content in the video. However, I'm gonna do it somehow. Before we start the video, guys, I have to thank you for the massive support on the last video. The Tate Brothers video has got over 400 views now, and the support has been amazing. I honestly didn't expect that. I knew that the video could have got more views than usual. However, I didn't expect the video to cross 400 views. It was a great surprise, and I want to thank all of you for the massive support on that video because it was really amazing and it surprised me. So thank you very much, and I hope that this video will be as liked as the other one. Probably not, but if you like this video, it's fine. Guys, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, activate notifications bell, comment down below with your opinion on the things which I will share with you today, and we can start actually with today's video. So today I want to talk about a reflection I had in Greece, my beloved Greece, any Greek fan I have. I think I have many, or at least they told me I have many. Thank you first of all for the support, and I want to tell you that your country is amazing. I fell in love with it, and I love Greece, guys. I love the world in general, but Greece is my favorite country out of the country I live in. Of course, I live in Spain, so Spain has to be my favorite country. And after Spain, there is Greece, absolutely. Now, coming back to the point of the video. Today, I'm going to talk about a reflection I had in Greece after meeting my dear friend Greg, who's certainly going to watch this video. Not in the first weeks this video is out because he's having exams. Good luck for the exams, my friend. You're going to certainly ace the exams. I'm certain I could bet all you want. You're going to ace the exams. I'm 100% certain, but that's a different story. I want to talk about the reflection I had after meeting him and his father. I want to talk about that because this is a reflection that I had on the 28th of April, actually a little over 1 month ago. And it was an important reflection I had. So let's start talking about when I met them. Okay, I met them in Greece, in Athens, in a very beautiful city, to say the very least. And it was interesting, certainly. I spent, I don't remember even how many hours, but I had a good time, certainly enjoyed it a lot, enjoyed the city, enjoyed the atmosphere, and I enjoyed their company. So everything was amazing about that day, to say the very least. And there was something special in the air, I think, because I managed to feel in a way I hadn't felt for a very long time, and I'm yet to feel again in that way after we met. Really, I'm yet to feel in that way again. It's difficult to feel real, and I felt real in those hours, and I felt real the hour after meeting them. So I felt real for, I think, 7 or 8 hours, which is a miracle, which hadn't happened in a very long time and isn't happening, of course, because it's a really special way I felt, and I think that I'm not the only one who feels real only once or twice a year. I don't think I'm the only one, or at least I think so. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong in this case. So we spent those hours together. I don't remember many, as I said, but I loved it. I loved the city, loved the atmosphere alone. I loved seeing a person I liked, and I still like, of course, after 9 months. I don't really remember, and it was also very interesting, and more than interesting, we could say, very good to get to know also his father. But this is not the interesting part of the video. I mean, this is just for the context. I mean, I have to say it, but those were really important hours for me, and probably those hours led to the reflection I had after meeting them. I come back home. I mean, we say goodbye to each other, bye-bye, we tell us goodbye. And after that, I am at home. I mean, it was a place we were staying at in Athens. And I think about life as a whole. I start having this reflection. I don't know why. I don't know why that day was so magical. I don't know why. Honestly, I don't know why, but it is good that I don't know why. Because if I knew why, then it wouldn't be so special anymore. I mean, the magic is magic because there is mystery with it. So I don't want to know why I felt so real and why the atmosphere was so magical on that day. I don't know why, and I don't want to know why. So I'm happy with that. Coming back now to the point which I was making, I started reflecting about life. I started thinking about life as a whole, and I also wrote some things. I wrote something down on a piece of paper. And I was thinking about many things. I was thinking about the way I was going through life, the way I was approaching life, the way I was dealing with things. And I thought about many things, but the main things which I thought about were I thought about social media, and I thought about how the world is real or not real, or how the world can be real or not real. So I thought about social media, I thought about the people I spend my time with, I thought about the things I preach and the things I value, I thought about all of those things. Let's start with social media. And I thought about information, I thought about consuming information, and I thought about the problem which I think society has nowadays, which I have already talked about on this channel many times, probably even at length, but I want to talk about that again. However, as I was saying, I thought about social media and I thought about overstimulation, which is, I think, one of the two biggest problems that Gen Z has. And after thinking about overstimulation, I analyzed the problem of overstimulation and overconsumption of information, we could even say. And I thought about those things. I thought about the reasons why we do that. And of course, it is because we're addicted to having our brain stimulated, and we have already discussed that. However, I try to analyze the information we consume daily on a regular basis. And I'll make an example here. I'm going to talk about now some sources of information. So the sources of information which I'll talk about are social media, of course, which is one of the biggest sources of information and one of the most used sources of information. And then there are the news. And now, I'll make an example. I don't watch the news. I haven't watched the news in 4 years. Why? Because I don't care about the news. And I think that the news, more than not being real, I'm not going to go that rabbit hole because I don't want to. However, more than not being real, the problem with the news is that there is always bad news. Always. I am yet to hear anybody talk about a good news day, talking about good news which came out from broadcasting corporations. I'm yet to hear that. So, to be quite frank, I'm not gonna sit there for 20 minutes and watch the news and just, fill my brain with sadness and depression and all those things. I don't want to do that, honestly. I'd rather be uninformed than misinformed, to be honest. I'd rather be uninformed. I don't care. I think it's better. That's just my point of view. However, there are many people who watch the news on a regular basis. Many friends of mine who watch the news. Their choices, no problem. Everybody can make their own choice. It's their own decision. I'm not gonna criticize nor attack anybody for a choice they make. Absolutely not gonna do that. I'm not that guy. However, I don't consume the news, just so you know. And then the other source of information which everybody I think consumes information from are social media. And social media actually, I think, deceives us. And I'm gonna sound like an hypocrite, of course, because I'm creating content on social media and I want people to consume my content. However, I also want to be real and also want to tell the things which I want to tell. However, that's a different story. The hypocrisy part, I think that I've never denied that. I think. As I was saying, social media deceives us. That's what I believe in. Deceives us because consuming all of this information actually confuses us. And the problem, and the main problem with social media, other than information consumed, is the fact that our brain and our mind cannot keep up with all this information. It simply cannot keep up with all this information. So it is difficult, first of all, to filter the things which are real and which are not real. And other than that, it is difficult to not make confusion given how much information we have and given how much the information we have access to is different, how different the information we have access to is different. Because we have people believing in one thing, people believing in another thing, people believing that it is all a conspiracy, people believing in another thing. So if you consume all of this information from all of these different sources of information, The problem we get is that we start to not understand, and our minds start to be foggy. That's something I've experienced, and I think that all of us have experienced something like that. I'll make an example here for all of you. I think that all of you have gone through this. Now, it doesn't happen to me anymore. I'm gonna say this. I catch myself consuming content on the internet when I shouldn't do it for minutes, which is far better than hours. But we all had those days where we sat on the couch or we lied down on our beds and we spent 6 hours, or let's not exaggerate, 4 hours consuming content, consuming reels, consuming YouTube shorts endlessly, aimlessly. And after doing nothing, because that's practically doing nothing, for 4 hours, we still felt tired. We still felt that our minds weren't sharp. And that's because, of course, our brain cannot keep up with all of that information. And that's a really big problem, which I think we should actually, try to solve somehow. And I'm gonna try to give some solutions to these problems. And that's, I think, a really big problem. Problems are not good. However, they can be solved. Anything as nothing lasts forever. That's what I wanted to say. Nothing lasts forever. So the good times, the problems won't last forever, and the good things won't last forever. That's the beauty of life. If everything lasted forever, it wouldn't be interesting, I think. That's just my point of view on this whole thing. After this reflection, and after thinking about social media and consuming content and all that stuff and consuming information, I sat and thought actually about what is really important and what we should value and prioritize in our lives. And I divided the important things which we should prioritize in life in three different things, which are God, that's the first one, our relatives, so our family and our friends, and the third one, hard work, dreams, and ambitions. So I'm gonna break each of these three things down. So let's start with God. I think that God is really important. I believe in God, and now I'm gonna share with you more or less my spiritual journey. So initially I was a Catholic, initially when I was a kid. However, it was I wouldn't say by indoctrination. However, I wasn't faithful. I didn't have a faith in Christianity. It was more about being a Christian because the country I live in, which is of course Spain, is Christian. It was more about that. However, then after that, when I was, I think, 10 or 9 years old or 11 years old, I actually was an atheist. I didn't believe in God anymore because I was thinking, that was my idea at the time. I was thinking, how can God exist? How can a God which wants only good exist if all of these wars and all of these heinous things are happening in the world? If God really existed, He wouldn't allow evil to exist on earth. That's what I thought. And then 1 year ago, I think 1 year and some months ago, actually, I started to believe in God again. So I started believing in God again. And I thought, yeah, I think God exists because if good exists, there has to be somebody who has created good. And for that reason, I believe that God exists. I also believe at the same time that the devil exists. So I think that there is a good force. I think that there is a good being, which is of course inhuman. It's not, of course, a human. I think that there is somebody inhuman, which I consider to be God, who gives every person who has a life the chance to do good. And of course, there is a bad force, there is a bad being, of course, which is also inhuman, who gives each of the citizens of the world the opportunity to do bad. So I think that every single day we have the choice. We make the choice, which is the choice to select from good and bad. And every single day we have God, who gives us the opportunity to do good for the world and good for ourselves. And then there is the devil, who gives us the opportunity to do bad for the world and bad for ourselves. So I think that every single day we are actually given the opportunity to make this choice. Every single day we choose to do either good or bad, and I want to make sure that I choose to do good. So that's my whole view on religion and God and religion as a whole. So to sum this whole thing up about religion, I think that worshipping God it is very important. I think it is a very important thing to do. Also because by worshipping God and by developing a relationship with God, I think that you can gain strength and be inspired by that. So I think that those are the reasons why I think it is really important, and also because it is important to worship the person, or more than the person, the being who actually created you. So I think that worshiping God is very important for that reason. The second thing which I consider to be really important and genuinely important, the second thing which I consider to matter in life is friends and family and the people who genuinely care about you. We could call this whole amount of people to some degree your inner circle. I think that instead of you know prioritizing social media or prioritizing people or idols we may have, I think it would be more appropriate for us to prioritize our family, our relatives, our real friends, the people who actually would never leave you in any situation, regardless of how bad the situation is. And I think that that would be really important. I think we should focus more to appreciate actually what our friends and our relatives are and mean to us. I think that we should take more time to appreciate that, in my point of view. And more than appreciate that, we should take more time to, and we shouldn't take those things for granted, I think, because when maybe you are in a dark moment, in a bad moment, but you still have the support of your relatives and your friends, that's how you get out of that bad situation. And if it weren't for the people who actually were close to you and loyal to you, regardless of how bad the situation was, you wouldn't have gotten out of the situation. So I think that for that reason, it is really important to prioritize friends. Talk about, of course, real friends. Honestly, I don't believe in the concept of fake friends, because a friend, in order to call somebody a friend, by extension, that person is certainly a real friend. Then, if they betray you, you didn't expect that, that's a different stuff. However, I don't put into the category of friends the people who I may consider fake friends. They're simply not friends of mine if they're fake friends. So I think that, prioritizing your friends and your family is really important. One thing which I'm starting to do more now is maybe instead of, maybe watching a tennis match or watching a video, I call a friend of mine, or I talk with some relative of mine instead of, maybe watching some content. I think it is better, I think it is more useful, and I think it is actually fair to your relatives and the people who love you. I think it is more just. I think that's something I believe in. And now I don't watch movies, I don't watch films, but if some of you in the comments are watching films, I think it is. I think it happens to be true. I think that many people that follow me watch films. I'm one of the few guys in this world who never watches any movie at all. I don't watch movies at all. I don't watch TV series at all. I think that, instead of maybe watching that movie, watching the TV series, I think it would be better maybe to call a friend of yours or hang out with a friend of yours. I think that's better instead of watching a film or watching a movie, which is insignificant in the end, I think. And also, instead of maybe aspiring to be like somebody you see on social media, even me, nobody aspires to be like me, I think. But if there is anybody out there who aspires to be like me, which would actually be crazy, there is going to be somebody in the future when I get more popular, certainly. Instead of maybe aspiring to be like me, focus on your own journey, on creating your own identity. That's the thing. I think that's better. I think that. The third point, last but not least, is, focus on hard work, prioritize hard work, the life goals and ambitions, and your dreams. I think those are the three things we should focus on. And when I talk about hard work, life goals, ambitions, and dreams, I talk about, you know, I talk about, for example, doing things which are real. I think social media aren't real. Social media are just the highlights of other people's lives. Social media isn't real, isn't a real thing, and it's not a very valuable thing, I believe. The content on social media is not really valuable. There is valuable content, but the majority of the content on social media is not valuable. I think that's just my idea, that's just my opinion. If you disagree with that, argue that in the comments. I would be really happy to do that. However, I think that the content on social media most of the times isn't valuable. So, as I was saying, hard work is really important. I think that putting in the work and trying to set yourself up for the future is really important. And I'm not talking about setting yourself up specifically in one field, I'm talking about setting yourself up in general. For example, I aspire to be the kind of person who, does the things regardless of how they feel, which is something which we have talked about at length in this channel. But other than that, I also want to be the kind of guy who can do anything, who can do everything. I want to be that guy, which is extremely difficult. However, I don't allow myself to think it is impossible, because I think it is possible, and I don't allow anybody to think, and I don't allow anybody to tell me that it is impossible. And one piece of advice, I think, which we can give, in case I'm giving, is don't let anybody tell you that your dream is impossible to achieve. I wouldn't let anybody tell me that something I want to achieve in life is impossible to achieve. I believe that's a belief I have, and maybe it's delusion, maybe it isn't. I don't care if it is delusion. I to be honest, I don't care if it is delusion. I think that if you work towards something, and if you dedicate yourself towards that thing completely and utterly on a long enough time frame, you will succeed. I believe in that, honestly, and that's a principle which I believe in, and I think that it is true. So I think that we should focus also on hard work, on working hard, taking care of ourselves, taking care of our health, and we should focus on really trying to achieve the things which we want to achieve, and dream about the things which we want to dream, and keep going regardless. And we should focus on more than aspiring to be about somebody else, or more than, as I said, aspire to be like somebody else. We should focus on creating our own journey and living our own journey at the fullest. That's what I believe in. Guys, for today's video, I think that we talked about everything that we were supposed to talk about. And to sum this whole thing up, the things which really matter in life, I think that they are God, our inner circle, and hard work. See ya.